The first thing I want to do is go over to my tools palette and I want to select my rectangle tool. So I click and hold on the shape tool and select rectangle, and then I'll use the black one as my guide. So I go to the very top left corner, click and drag with my left mouse key, and I'll go up to here and I let it go, and there's my green rectangle. And now, while I still have the rectangle tool selected, I'm just going to make a rectangle on his right arm, and I'm just left click and dragging a rectangle here. And remember, I mentioned we do this the lazy way. Now we'll copy and paste those rectangles wherever we need them. So I can copy this rectangle by going Command C, and then I can go Edit, Paste in Front, and that'll paste it right over top. And if I drag and hold Shift, I can bring that other rectangle over, and now, just easy as that, I've got two rectangles, I've got part of two arms. But before we get ahead, let's make this complete arm, so then when we're ready to copy it, we can duplicate his arm and we don't need to do it twice. So the next element I need to bring in is a circle. So I go over to that tools palette, grab click and hold on the rectangle tool, and then I find my ellipse tool, and then you select that, and make sure whenever you're working with the ellipse tool that you hold Shift. I'll show you an example why. If I don't hold Shift, it makes any oval, like this for example. If I hold Shift, it makes a perfect square. So there's an example, and we want a perfect square similar to this example. So you can play around with it on your own time with the ellipse tool, and we'll do activities together. But for this example, we'll be using the ellipse tool, and we'll be holding Shift while we use it, so we can make perfect squares. Let me zoom in. So I go and grab my ellipse tool. Okay, and notice that I'm gonna click at this center point right here where it says anchor, and I hold Shift, and I'm just dragging up as the circle scales up, and there's a little guideline here. It snaps to the edge of my rectangle. That's what I want. So I let it go there. Then I want to go to my direct selection tool. This one here, the black one. Click it. Select that circle, and I'm using my arrow keys on the keyboard and just pressing the down arrow key. And so there's my circle, and it's overlapped onto this rectangle that I created. So now that I've got that, I can just copy by Command C, go Edit, Paste in Place, and then I just hit my arrow keys, and I'm just hitting the bottom arrow key to drag that circle down again to create our first arm. And then I click on each object. So click on the first circle, click on the rectangle while holding Shift, and click on the third circle. Go Command C, and then Edit, Paste in Place, and then I just drag it over with my right arrow key. If you hold Shift, it'll move over that much quicker. And just like that, we've got two arms, and then we can use these for the legs too. So that's why I said it's the lazy way. We just did one arm and we can make legs and arms. So Command C, Command V, and notice how it just fits right into place. Command C, edit, paste in place. Use the arrow keys to move it over. Excellent. So now we've got two arms, we've got part of a body, and the two legs. And this bottom section here, the one where it's curved, it's pretty easy. All we got to do is go over to shapes again. I click and hold, and we want to use the rounded rectangle tool. And so with the rounded rectangle tool, you just hold your left mouse key, click, and just drag it. And it's pretty close to the edge that I want, that rounded edge. So that's fine, just the way it is, just like that. And these elements all overlap each other, and I'll explain later as to how to arrange those elements. So now we got his body, the android's body, and all we need is his head, little tentacles, and some eyes. But the eyes, you could probably already tell me how to do those with the circles. So let's do the head. So I go back to my ellipse tool. So I want to go to the middle point where his little mouth is. Left mouse key, click, hold shift, and drag up. Or you can drag down, but I prefer to drag up. And then notice I've got these little green guidelines that come up, and it tells me I'm lined up with the edge of that rectangle I created. So that's exactly what I want. I let it go. And then I want to just bring this down. And I can bring it up and down by pressing the up and down arrow keys. So I want to line it up, line my green to where the black is. Okay, right there is fine. But now this whole shape is taking up, it's not exactly what I want. I need to cut it in half. So the way I would cut it in half is use the eraser tool. And the best way to do that is to go to your ruler and then click and drag. And those are called guides. And I want to bring my guide to the edge of the mouth of the android. But first, I did a little mistake. I want to view guides. So I need to go down to view. I got to go to view, guides, show guides, and then there it came up. So I just left mouse click in the ruler, drag it down, and I can create guides to be able to use that for me to hold shift and erase the proper area. So then I want to take the eraser tool, make sure you select the object first, take the eraser tool, and then I'm just gonna hit my brackets. So then see, I can expand or decrease the size of my brush. So I'm gonna decrease it by hitting the left bracket, increase the right bracket, and then again you always hold shift. So I click, hold shift to erase. I was a little bit crooked, so I can go Command Z to undo. So I'll try another attempt. So I'm holding shift, and it's fairly straight, but third try's a charm. Okay, I like that. And then I click on the bottom section, I hit delete on my keyboard, and I've got the top section of the head. Now we've got two little tentacles. and I want to make those green as well and make a shape. So I'll go over to my stroke, so a line segment, select it, and then I click and drag, left mouse click, and makes a line. And so that's a stroke that we just created. And I can go up here where it says stroke and select what size. So let's say I know it's 5 points. So that I've done this before, and it's 5-point stroke. And I want that little end to be rounded. So I can go over to my selection tool, and then there's a little button here on the right hand side called stroke. Click it, and then notice there's a little graphic here where it says cap and with a rounded end. You click that, and then check it out. That's a nice rounded end on that stroke, and it's exactly what we wanted. Creates the tentacle just like our little Android character. So I can copy it and I can paste it by going Command V, but now it's the same angle as the first one. So we could go Window, and I'm looking for Transform. There it is, and I've got it up already. So if you click it, this is what comes up. And Transform, here you want to go into this window, click on this button, and then flip horizontal. And notice it flipped it, and now I can just click and drag it into place, and there we go. We got the two tentacles. It's the same identical object. You could just physically draw another stroke at that angle, and that would be another way to do it. Now all we're missing are the two little eyes. So I conveniently have the eyes over here to use, but I want to use the eyes underneath this green one. So I'll just click on the green head, and I can, while holding shift, I drag it over by holding and holding shift as well. Or you could use your arrow keys to move the object. And now I can see my little eyes here. I'm going to zoom out so we can see the tools. And I need that ellipse tool again. So there it is. Click on it. And then while holding shift, I'm going to create a circle that's close . And then I go click on my selection tool, zoom in. You can zoom in by doing Command plus on your keyboard or Command minus to zoom out. Okay, and that's close. So now I go Command C, Command V, and I can even click and drag it into place. Now the eyes are green, so I want to change those to white. So I click on both by holding shift again. And notice here where the colors are, click on the green one, and then I can double click it to change the colors. So I wanted white, so you can drag this up and down similar to Photoshop, and have click and drag to the top left where it's white. And just like that, those become white. I'm going to zoom out, Command minus to zoom out. And now his head is way off, so I gotta drag the head back over. So I click and drag it over by holding shift or the right mouse key. Okay, there it is. That's close. And if I were to delete my background layer, I would have the same little Android character here. So I'll just delete it, delete those guides, and there you go.